There comes a moment in every person's life when they look in the mirror and realize something powerful the world isn't holding them back. Their mind is. And the day you understand that is the day everything begins to change. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about a remarkable power, one quietly shaping your destiny long before you ever notice its influence. It is the hidden engine behind your choices, your habits, your growth, and ultimately your life. I'm speaking, of course, about your mind and the extraordinary strength that lies within it. Most people go through life believing that circumstances sculpt their future. But the truth, timeless and unchanging, is that your thoughts do the sculpting. Your mind is the workshop, the stage, and the command center of everything you will ever accomplish. And when you learn to master it, you become unstoppable. Mental strength isn't a gift granted to a select few. It is the result of daily decisions, small, quiet decisions the world never sees. It is built when you choose peace over panic, responsibility over excuse, purpose over distraction. You strengthen your mind when you hold a steady course even when the winds of life blow harshly against you. You see, the strongest individuals are not those who avoid difficulty, but those who meet adversity with calm determination. When challenges come, and they always do, your reaction reveals the quality of your thinking. Stand firm, stay centered, and remind yourself that no temporary difficulty has the power to define your destiny unless you permit it. There is one principle I want you to remember above all else. Write it down if you must. Let it echo in your mind as you walk through your day. A person becomes unstoppable the moment they choose the thoughts that lift them higher instead of the ones that hold them down. Because your life rises, or falls, to the level of your thinking. If you dwell on fear, you shrink. If you dwell on possibility, you expand. Your inner dialogue becomes the script of your life, and you are both the writer and the actor, so choose the words wisely. Take a moment and ask yourself, what would my life look like if I simply mastered my own mind? Imagine the discipline, the clarity, the unshakable confidence that would emerge. It is not far from you. In fact, it begins this very moment. Start small. Begin with one powerful action. Guard your thoughts. Whenever a negative idea enters, replace it with a constructive one. When you feel yourself slipping into doubt, remind yourself of your purpose. And when you feel tired, remember that strength is not built in comfort. It is built in motion. Mental strength begins with the disciplined control of your thoughts, and this simple truth has shaped more destinies than any stroke of luck or circumstance. When a person discovers that they can govern the direction of their own thinking, they unlock a power that quietly separates the fulfilled from the frustrated, the confident from the anxious, the leader from the follower. Most people drift through life with their thoughts scattered, unfocused, and easily influenced by whatever happens around them. They move as the wind moves them, reacting rather than creating. But the individual who learns to direct their thoughts with intention becomes a force of nature, steady and purposeful in a world of noise. Your mind is the most magnificent instrument you will ever possess, yet it demands discipline to operate it at its highest potential. Just as a ship requires a captain to steer it, your thoughts require direction. If you fail to guide them, they will wander into doubt, fear, and limitation by default. For the mind untrained often chooses the path of least resistance. But when you assume command, when you deliberately choose what to think about, what to dwell on, and what to release, you begin the process of shaping not only your day but your entire future. Every achievement in human history began as a thought held long enough and strong enough to take on form. That is the quiet miracle of controlled thinking. You cannot hold a negative thought and experience a positive life. Nor can you maintain a weak mindset and expect strong results. The quality of your thinking becomes the architecture of your character, your habits, and your destiny. Mental strength grows each time you pull your mind back from worry and return it to the present moment, each time you redirect your attention from fear toward possibility, each time you replace a limiting belief with a constructive one that serves your growth. Discipline does not require harshness, it requires consistency. Begin by observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice where they tend to drift when you are not watching. Are they building you or breaking you? Are they preparing you or preventing you? Once you learn the landscape of your inner world, you can begin shaping it with intention. Choose thoughts of purpose, courage, gratitude, and clarity. Hold them until they settle into your attitude and eventually your identity. Over time, this practice creates a quiet strength, a resilience of mind that does not bend at the slightest challenge. It allows you to remain calm when others panic, decisive when others hesitate, and focused when others become distracted. This is the disciplined control of thought, the birthplace of all mental strength, your mindset determines the direction of your entire life, and once a person truly understands this, they begin to treat their thoughts and attitudes not as passing moods, but as the steering wheel of their destiny. The world often speaks of luck, opportunity, and circumstance, but beneath all these forces lies something far more powerful and far more personal: the way you choose to perceive yourself, your challenges, and your possibilities. Two individuals can face the same situation, yet one grows while the other retreats. The difference is not the situation itself, but the mindset through which it is interpreted. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world, and like any lens, it can be clear or cloudy, focused or distorted. When it is clouded by fear, doubt, and self-imposed limitations, even the smallest obstacles appear insurmountable. But when the lens is clean, polished by purpose, belief, and clarity, mountains shrink into manageable hills, and challenges transform into opportunities for growth. Life does not change by chance. It changes when you adjust the way you think about it. A person with a defeated mindset will search for reasons why something cannot be done, while a person with a growth mindset looks for ways it might be possible. One sees setbacks as evidence of failure, the other sees them as steps on the path to mastery. This simple yet profound shift in attitude determines whether you move forward or remain stuck. The most successful individuals are not those who never face difficulty, but those who maintain a mindset strong enough to rise above it. Your mindset influences not only how you interpret events, but also how you respond to them. A negative viewpoint narrows your vision, making you blind to the resources, allies, and opportunities around you. A positive, empowered mindset expands that vision, revealing solutions that were invisible before. People rarely fail because they lack the ability. More often, they fail because they lack the mindset that allows their ability to flourish. Thoughts become attitudes, attitudes become actions, and actions shape results. Change the initial thought, and you alter the entire chain reaction. Developing a powerful mindset begins with awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself each day. Are they stories of limitation or possibility? Are they rooted in past disappointments or in future potential? Your mind believes what you consistently feed it. Choose thoughts that strengthen your resolve, expand your sense of what is possible, and align with the person you want to become. With time, these thoughts solidify into a mindset that does not crumble under pressure but stands firm. As your mindset shifts, so does your direction, and ultimately, the path of your entire life. What you consistently think about, you inevitably become, and this truth has shaped more lives than any external force in history. The mind is always at work, quietly weaving your dominant thoughts into the fabric of your reality. Whether you're aware of it or not, you are constantly becoming the product of the ideas you allow to linger, the images you hold, and the beliefs you repeat. Thoughts are not fleeting clouds with no consequence. They are seeds, and given enough time they grow roots, habits, and ultimately outcomes. Every day you are planting something in the soil of your mind, and sooner or later it shows itself in the quality of your life. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. They allow the same doubtful, anxious, or limiting thoughts to run through their minds day after day, and then they wonder why progress feels so difficult. But the individual who deliberately chooses their inner conversation, who shapes their thoughts like a sculptor shapes clay, begins to transform from the inside out. A single thought held with conviction can change the trajectory of a life. It influences your posture, your attitude, your expectations, and your decisions. Before long, what once existed only in the quiet chambers of your mind becomes visible in your actions. If you think about problems, you become a collector of them. If you dwell on limitations, your world shrinks. But if you think about growth, courage, and solutions, your world expands to meet those thoughts. Your mind aligns your behavior with whatever dominates your attention. That is why it's said that no person rises above the level of their own thinking. When you entertain thoughts of confidence, you begin to walk differently. When you entertain thoughts of purpose, you begin to act differently. And when you entertain thoughts of success, not wishfully but intentionally, you begin to make decisions that guide you toward it. To become the person you desire, you must first think like that person. Picture your goals with clarity. Imagine yourself as capable, disciplined, and resilient. Let those thoughts take root. Repetition is the architect of belief, and belief shapes identity. With time, your new thoughts become familiar, comfortable, natural, until the old patterns no longer have power over you. This is not mere positive thinking. It is the deliberate programming of your mind, the conscious shaping of who you are becoming. Guard your mental environment. Feed your mind images that lift you, ideas that challenge you, and thoughts that strengthen you. for the mind, once directed, will build your life according to the blueprint you continuously supply it. And the remarkable truth is that you already possess the ability to choose the thoughts that shape your future. Adversity is not an obstacle. It is a forge for inner power, and once a person understands this, they begin to see life's challenges through a far different lens. Most people spend their days trying to avoid difficulty, as though comfort were the key to progress. Yet history shows us that the individuals who achieve remarkable things are those who learn to use adversity as a tool, not a torment. Hardship introduces a person to themselves. It reveals the depth of their character, the strength of their resolve, and the clarity of their purpose. When challenges arise, they do not come to break you, but to build the qualities you have not yet discovered within yourself. Every worthy accomplishment demands a struggle of some kind. The seed must push through soil to reach the sun, the iron must endure fire to gain strength. And in the same way, the human spirit gains its sharpness, resilience, and endurance through the trials it overcomes. Adversity teaches patience when you want speed, focus when the world tempts distraction, and resourcefulness when the easy path disappears. It forces you to stretch the limits of your thinking, discovering new strategies, new habits, and new levels of calm you didn't know you possessed. Without challenge, you would never learn the full measure of your abilities. The strongest individuals are not those who have lived sheltered lives untouched by difficulty. They are the ones who have walked through storms and discovered that, even soaked and weary, they could still move forward. They have learned not to panic in the face of uncertainty, for they understand that every struggle contains a lesson and every setback carries a hidden opportunity. Adversity sharpens perception. It teaches a person to discern what truly matters and to let go of what does not. It separates the superficial from the meaningful, the temporary from the timeless. When you face adversity with courage rather than fear, something remarkable happens. You begin to trust yourself. You learn that you can endure, you can adapt, and you can rise. This trust becomes a steady companion, guiding you through future challenges with quiet confidence. And each victory, no matter how small, adds another layer of strength to your foundation. So when difficulties appear, meet them with a calm, steady mind. Ask yourself not why they have come, but what they are here to teach. For every challenge carries within it the potential for growth, and every moment of adversity is a chance to refine your character, sharpen your purpose, and emerge stronger than before. Stillness and clarity create the most decisive actions, and this is a truth that has quietly guided the greatest thinkers, leaders, and creators throughout history. In a world that moves with relentless speed, most people rush through their days believing that activity alone equals progress. They confuse motion with meaning, noise with direction, and urgency with importance. Yet the individuals who shape their lives with intention understand something deeper. The most powerful actions arise from a mind that has learned to be still, to reflect, and to see clearly before it moves. Clarity is not found in chaos. It emerges in moments when the mind is calm enough to observe its own thoughts without being pulled into them. When you pause long enough to listen to your inner guidance, you gain insight that no amount of frantic effort can produce. Stillness is not idleness, it is preparation. It is the deliberate settling of the mind so that your next step is not taken out of habit or fear, but from purpose. A calm mind is a sharp mind, capable of recognizing opportunities that a restless mind overlooks. In those quiet moments when the world loses its grip on your attention, you begin to see the truth of your desires, your strengths, and your direction. You recognize what is essential and what is noise. Decisions that once felt heavy begin to reveal their answers with surprising simplicity. Problems that seemed tangled and impossible begin to sort themselves out. A clear mind cuts through confusion like a blade through fog. It does not wander from one impulse to the next. It sees the path laid out before it with quiet certainty. Many people fear stillness because it confronts them with their own thoughts, but this confrontation is the very gateway to self-mastery. When you learn to sit with yourself, to listen rather than react, you cultivate the inner strength that fuels decisive action. It takes courage to pause in a world that demands constant movement. But that pause is where wisdom gathers, where direction forms, and where true power begins. You cannot steer a ship if the water is constantly churning. You cannot steer your life if your mind never settles. Once clarity is gained, action becomes effortless. You no longer waste energy on pursuits that do not align with your purpose. You move with certainty, even if the steps are small. You make choices that reflect who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. Stillness teaches you to trust your own judgment. Clarity teaches you what to do with that trust. Together, they produce decisions that are not rushed, not forced, but deeply aligned with your highest potential. Growth comes from deliberate, daily habits, not sudden inspiration, and this is a truth that quietly defines the lives of all successful individuals. Inspiration may strike like a spark, bright and exciting, but it fades as quickly as it arrives. Habits, however, are the steady hands that continue the work long after the initial excitement has vanished. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect surge of motivation to begin changing their lives. They do not realize that progress is not built in dramatic leaps, but in small, consistent actions repeated day after day. A person does not become disciplined, confident, or capable overnight. These qualities are shaped through the humble repetition of simple routines. Reading a few pages each morning, thinking clearly before acting, choosing gratitude, practicing patience, taking one small step toward a goal even on days when enthusiasm is nowhere to be found. These habits seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate quietly, changing your character, your mindset, and ultimately your destiny. The individual who commits to steady progress will surpass the one who waits for inspiration every single time. There is a certain dignity in this daily commitment. It teaches you that you are not at the mercy of your feelings. You do not need to feel inspired to do what needs to be done. When you train yourself to act regardless of mood, you develop a strength that very few possess. The mind becomes sharper, the will grows stronger, and your goals move from possibility to inevitability. Discipline at its core is simply honoring the promises you make to yourself. Each time you follow through, you deepen your trust in your own word. Daily habits also create momentum. Small victories compound into larger ones, and what once felt difficult becomes natural. The mind begins to expect progress, and the body follows its command. Even 5 minutes of intentional effort each day is far more valuable than waiting for a perfect hour that never comes. Life respects consistency. It rewards those who show up, who commit, who take the tiny daily actions that others overlook or dismiss. Habit is the invisible architecture that supports every meaningful achievement. When you examine the lives of the most successful people, you will find that their greatness did not begin with extraordinary talent. It began with ordinary habits performed with extraordinary consistency. They understood that inspiration is a visitor, but discipline is a resident. And through that discipline, they shaped themselves into individuals capable of reaching heights they once only imagined. Growth is not a miracle. It is a method built quietly through deliberate, daily habits. Focus is a superpower that separates achievers from dreamers, and it has always been the quiet force behind every remarkable accomplishment. In a world filled with endless noise and constant distraction, the ability to direct your attention toward a single purpose has become one of the rarest and most valuable forms of strength. Most people scatter their energy across dozens of trivial pursuits, never giving enough concentrated effort to anything that could change the course of their lives. But the individual who learns to focus, truly focus, becomes a powerful instrument of intention, capable of achieving far more with less effort simply because their mind is not divided. Focus is not merely the act of concentrating, it is the practice of choosing what deserves your attention and what does not. It is a discipline of the mind, a quiet declaration that you will no longer be pulled in every direction by the demands of the world. When you choose to focus on one worthwhile goal, you breathe life into it. You give it structure, clarity, and momentum. And as your attention deepens, so does your progress. What once seemed complex becomes manageable. What once appeared distant begins to draw nearer. Focus transforms effort into effectiveness. The mind, when scattered, is weak. It jumps from thought to thought, task to task, never producing the force necessary to create lasting change. But when you align your thoughts, energy, and actions toward a single aim, you unleash a power within yourself that most people never experience. This is the reason why so many talented individuals fail to reach their potential. They are capable but unfocused, and capability without focus leads only to frustration. Focus also brings a sense of calm to your life. When you know what matters, you stop wasting energy on what does not. You no longer chase every passing opportunity or entertain every fleeting thought. You become grounded, centered, and intentional. The noise around you may continue, but it no longer commands you. You learn to navigate your days with clarity, choosing your actions based on purpose rather than impulse. There is great satisfaction in this kind of living. Each day becomes meaningful because each day contributes to something greater than itself. Progress is steady, even if slow, because it is consistent. Focus turns ordinary days into building blocks of extraordinary achievements. It teaches you that success is not the result of doing everything, but of doing the right things with unwavering attention. Through focus, you discover the power of your own mind, the depth of your determination, and the remarkable things you can accomplish when you give your best to what truly matters. Persistence beats talent when talent refuses to persist, and this principle has quietly shaped the destiny of countless individuals who rose far beyond what anyone expected of them. Talent may give a person a strong beginning, but persistence determines where they ultimately arrive. The world is filled with people who possess great ability, remarkable intelligence, or natural gifts, yet accomplish little because they stop when the road becomes difficult. Meanwhile, there are those of modest beginnings who surpass them simply because they refuse to quit. They keep moving, step by steady step, long after the excitement fades and the challenges appear. Persistence is the quiet force that turns intention into achievement. It is not loud, it does not announce itself, and it does not rely on bursts of inspiration. Instead, it is the daily decision to continue. Through uncertainty, through fatigue, through setbacks that would cause others to turn back. It is the recognition that progress rarely happens in straight lines. There are times when growth is invisible, when results seem non-existent, when the effort feels greater than the reward. Yet persistence assures you that these moments are not signs of failure, but necessary seasons in the process of becoming. Many people misunderstand success, imagining it as a sudden breakthrough or a dramatic event. More often, it is the result of countless small actions repeated with determination. The individual who persists discovers something profound about themselves. They are stronger, more capable, and more resilient than they once believed. Every challenge overcome becomes a source of confidence. Each obstacle moves from being a threat to being a teacher. Persistence shapes character in a way talent never can, for it is forged in the very moments when giving up would be easiest. The value of persistence lies not in perfection, but in consistency. You need not move quickly, you need only to keep moving. Just as dripping water can carve stone, steady effort can carve pathways to new levels of achievement. Even failure becomes fuel for the persistent mind. While the talented may retreat at the first sign of difficulty, the persistent individual adjusts, learns, and continues. Persistence does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees eventual progress, and progress accumulated over time becomes success. There is a quiet dignity in refusing to surrender your goals, especially when no one is watching. It is in these private choices, made in silence without recognition, that greatness is formed. Persistence teaches you to rely on your inner strength rather than external approval. It builds endurance not only for the pursuit of goals, but for life itself. And through persistence, you discover that the greatest victories often belong not to the most talented, but to the ones who simply would not stop moving forward. Self-belief is the foundation of every great achievement, and without it, no amount of opportunity or intelligence can carry a person far. The world often teaches us to measure ourselves by external standards, titles, possessions, or the opinions of others, but the truth is simpler and far more powerful. You rise or fall by the strength of the belief you hold about yourself. When a person genuinely believes they are capable, worthy, and prepared to grow, they step into challenges with a steadiness that surprises even them. But when doubt governs the mind, even the smallest obstacles appear like towering walls. Self-belief is not arrogance, nor is it blind optimism. It is the quiet inner knowing that you possess the ability to learn, adapt, and rise above whatever stands before you. It is the trust in your own potential, even when results are not yet visible. Many people wait for evidence before believing in themselves, not understanding that belief is the very force that produces the evidence. The mind will not pursue what it secretly believes it cannot attain. But once belief is established, the whole personality begins to shift. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently. Your decisions reflect a confidence that others may not understand, but they will eventually see. There is a remarkable power in recognizing that your greatest limitations often exist only in your imagination. The moment you challenge those imagined boundaries, you discover abilities that were dormant, waiting for your command. Self-belief does not guarantee that the road ahead will be easy, but it ensures that you will not turn back when difficulties arise. It acts as an anchor when life becomes uncertain and as a compass when direction seems unclear. People with deep self-belief are not free from doubt. They simply refuse to let doubt dictate their actions. Belief shapes behavior. When you believe you can, you try. When you try, you learn. When you learn, you improve. And when you improve, belief strengthens further. This cycle becomes a powerful force, moving you steadily toward the life you envision. But it all begins with that first inner conviction. The decision to trust yourself before the world gives you permission. Those who accomplish great things are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who decide that they are capable and refuse to abandon that decision. Self-belief must be nurtured, protected, and renewed. Surround your mind with thoughts that affirm your potential. Celebrate your progress, however small. Speak to yourself with the same encouragement you would offer someone you care deeply about. For the mind accepts repeated truth, and repeated truth becomes identity. Through this process, self-belief becomes more than a feeling, it becomes a way of life, guiding your actions and shaping your destiny. With every step you take, transformation begins the moment you accept full responsibility for your life, and this realization is both liberating and profoundly powerful. Most people drift through existence believing that external circumstances, luck, other people's actions, or unforeseen events determine their fate. They wait for permission, for opportunity, for a change that seems beyond their control. Yet the truth, as timeless as it is simple, is that the one factor you can always govern is yourself. When you stop blaming, stop complaining, and stop waiting for the world to act in your favor, you step into the domain of true personal power. Responsibility is the spark that ignites transformation, because it signals that you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance but the architect of your destiny. Accepting responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong, nor does it mean assuming burdens that are not yours to bear. It means recognizing that your responses to every situation are under your control. You cannot always dictate what happens to you, but you can always decide how you react. This simple shift in perspective separates those who grow from those who remain stagnant. When you take ownership of your thoughts, your actions, and your choices, you reclaim the authority over your life that has always belonged to you. Responsibility is not a punishment, it is freedom. It frees you from the illusions of helplessness and victimhood. It allows you to focus not on what is outside your control, but on what you can shape and influence. Every habit, every decision, every thought becomes an opportunity to express this power. The moment you accept that your results are your own, you stop waiting for miracles and start creating them. The same situations that once seemed limiting now become invitations to grow, to learn, and to excel. Life responds to those who respond to life with purpose and accountability. This principle transforms not only actions but mindset. You begin to see challenges as opportunities, mistakes as lessons, and setbacks as signals to adjust course rather than abandon it. You stop reacting impulsively to circumstance and start acting deliberately in alignment with your goals. The energy that was once wasted in complaining or blaming is redirected into building skills, forming habits, and taking consistent action. Responsibility is the silent engine of progress, the unseen force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It produces resilience, clarity, and an inner authority that cannot be shaken by external events. When you fully embrace responsibility, you empower yourself to change your life in ways that talent, luck, or education alone could never achieve. You realize that everything you desire begins with a choice, and every choice is an act of personal accountability. Transformation is not something granted. It is something claimed by those willing to stand fully in the truth of their own power. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the secret of mental strength is no secret at all. It is a principle as old as time, quietly shaping the lives of those who understand it. Your thoughts, your mindset, your habits, your persistence, and above all, your self-belief and willingness to take responsibility, form the foundation upon which every achievement is built. You are not at the mercy of circumstance, nor are you defined by the challenges that life places before you. The power to rise, to grow, to become unstoppable has always resided within your mind. Remember, it begins with your thoughts, those small, often unnoticed seeds that eventually determine the course of your life. Nurture them with discipline, focus, and purpose. Let adversity be your teacher and clarity your guide. Build daily habits that propel you forward and embrace the quiet power of persistence even when the road seems long. Trust in yourself and take full responsibility for every decision, every action, and every step you take. In doing so, you transform not only your circumstances but the very essence of who you are. The journey to mental strength is not completed in a day, nor is it marked by fleeting inspiration. It is cultivated in the deliberate choices you make each moment, in the thoughts you feed, and the actions you commit to consistently. It is shaped by the mindset you adopt, the focus you maintain, and the unshakable belief that you are capable of far more than you have ever realized. And so, as you leave this moment and return to the rhythms of your day, carry with you this simple truth: the mind is your greatest ally, your most formidable tool, and the source of an unstoppable life. When you master it, when you direct it with intention and courage, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Every goal, every dream, every aspiration begins here, with the choice to think deliberately, to act decisively, and to persist until your vision becomes reality. Step forward now with clarity, determination, and unwavering belief, for the life you desire is waiting to be claimed, and it will respond to the strength of your mind and the courage of your heart.